Hello and welcome to SheTech of 2020. My name is Angela Dayton and I'm here to talk to you about dreaming and doing exactly what you want to do in your careers. So many people have ideas. To give you a little bit of my background is I had a master's degree at 20 years old in instructional technology. I am one of the only women in my graduate program at the time, as well as have had that opportunity to be one of the only women in technology for the last 20 years. So I have actually created a number of different products as well as technologies, and a lot of people come to me and they say, "Hey, Angela, I've got an idea." Many of you probably have an idea as well, and you're pursuing different types of education, whether it be in STEM or in the arts or in the career and technical education. But my purpose today is to talk about those ideas that you have, whether they be in technology or whether they be in consumer products or whether they be in the service industry, and outline exactly how you can dream it and ultimately do it. So let's just talk about reality. The reality of the situation is everyone has ideas. Those who actually make their ideas a reality are those who have a very direct path to that success. For instance, I got a master's degree at 20 years old. I was very organized as well as planned the schedule that I needed to complete in college and in high school and of course in graduate school so that I could ultimately receive my degree at that time. When I've started businesses, I've had a very exact way of making my ideas become a reality. It's a little bit chaotic, it's a little bit challenging, but ultimately we as women in technology need to be overcome those challenges with confidence. And you need to believe in yourself, you need to believe in your skill set, and you need to believe in the education and knowledge that you have, and ultimately how that is going to improve as well as perfect the companies you work for or the businesses you start. So let's go ahead and start with some of my stories. As you can see on these pictures, I am one of the only female Salt Lake City Angel. Well, I am the only female Salt Lake City Angel, and was the only female investor in Utah for a number of years. I serve on a lot of different panels where I am the only female either speaking at a conference or serving on a panel in a conference. Because I'm confident in my knowledge and because I'm confident in my skill set, it doesn't matter what gender the audience are or the panelists are. Ultimately, we are all professionals and we are all expert in our own set of information and knowledge as well as advice that we can provide. However, we as women have the opportunity to provide a lot of unique insights when it comes to achieving success. So success is kind of a treasure hunt, but if you have a map that will set you forward, then you're going to be able to go from the dream it to the do it by very, very specific steps. So as you come up with an idea, as you are pursuing your education and your careers, your first thing you're going to want to do, of course, is identify that dream. The second is you're going to want to research it. What does it mean? Who is going to be the buyer? What does the buyer actually want what you're dreaming about? My advice to all entrepreneurs is to identify and to interview thousands of potential customers and identify the need that they have. If you identify that need, then ultimately you can then define the need, study it, plan, and analyze the steps that you're going to take in order to implement the idea, the product, the service, or the technology that you're dreaming about. Then, of course, you're going to need to finance it, build it, and at that point, you go back and analyze again. You go back to your consumers and you ask them, is this what you want? Is this what you need? You work, you move it forward, you analyze again, you manage, you grow, you analyze, and you repeat. As you can see from the visual, it is a lot of analyzation that will take place in your careers within STEM because you are trying to solve a problem with technology or science or engineering, and there's a lot of different failures and successes that are going to be that you're going to have along the way. But as you pursue these dreams, then you will be able to take this map and this mindset to be able to move it forward in order to achieve success. You're going to have to pivot. As you saw from the last slide, you have to analyze. And every time you analyze the information that's in front of you, whether it be from a customer perspective, an educational perspective, a boss's perspective, or business's goals, you're going to have to pivot. And sometimes failure is necessary. That failure can actually teach you a lot. I believe that I learned the most from my failures than I ever did from my successes, because I learned of the opportunity I had to go back and listen to my customers and find out exactly what they need, so that I could then implement the technology necessary to fulfill their needs and become successful. Now, 9 out of 10 startups fail. Now, what that means is a lot of times they may go through some of the steps, but not all of the steps. Be aware that as you implement the expertise that you have into entrepreneurship or into a technology, you are going to have some failures. And we as women cannot take those personally. We have to stand up straight. We have to have confidence. We cannot spend time moping or complaining or being sensitive about the failures that we're going to encounter. Instead, we have to analyze them, and we have to look at them in a very non-emotional approach, so that we can then identify what steps should have been taken or need to be taken in the future in order for that success to be guaranteed. So success is an iceberg. People see the success. They may see the car people drive, or the houses they live in, or the clothes that they wear. But what they're not seeing is that persistence, that sacrifice, the hard work and dedication that it takes to actually be successful in your careers, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you work for a company, which I consider that an entrepreneur, because you're always going to need to be persistent in achieving your goals and the company's goals. Now, what people don't see are the late nights, the early mornings, the meetings, the internal analyzation that does take place in order to make sure that these companies or these ideas are executed properly. So keep in mind that as we look at success, you're going to see successful people. And what I encourage you to do is to ask them, how did they get there? What did they learn on the way? And ultimately, how can you then apply the knowledge that they have in your life to be successful? So entrepreneurship, being a woman in technology, it's a mindset and a skill set. I have created tangible products. I've created consumer products. I've created technology products. I've actually written books, and I've spoken internationally at thousands of conferences, providing workshop and keynote speeches, as well as developed technology for very successful organizations on the nonprofit, government, and private industry perspective. And part of it is a mindset. Is I am very confident in who I am and what I have to offer. And I encourage each one of you to sit down and identify, what are your skill set, what is your mindset, and what do you need to change and or improve and or create in yourself to be a strong woman in technology. So what does it take to be successful in your career and in your life? Ultimately, you have to have a vision. You have to have a focus. You need to understand where you're going and how you're going to get there. And then that gets you to your ability to execute. You're not going to know everything, and that's okay. But what you need to do is you need to identify what your strong skill set is, and then ultimately hire individuals and or surround yourself with individuals that have expertise that you don't have. Together, you will have the ability to execute the dream and ultimately make that technology, that service, that product something that will then positively affect the lives of others. You surround yourself with experts, surround yourself with mentors, and make sure that you bring on the individuals into your team as well as your support network that are going to help you move your idea and your dream forward, and that all of you have a strong value system to support one another with a very clear goal in mind. I have a saying, that is, frustration only happens with miscommunication and lack of expectations. I'm going to say that again. Frustration only happens with miscommunication and lack of expectations. Because of that, I then believe in over communicating to the point where miscommunication cannot take place. By doing this, that is one of my strong skill sets. So it's one of my strong values is I want to be a very clear communicator. And as a woman, we have the ability to be that communicator. We have to be articulate, we have to be intelligent, and we have to be secure in how we approach our careers as well as our goals and our dreams. Now, the technology company I currently run is I'm the president and CEO of MedForums, which is a one-stop platform for healthcare providers to access medical education. We interviewed thousands of physicians and found that they didn't have a one-stop platform of peer-reviewed and rated resources that would reduce their stress and save them time. Because of the interviews that I had with our users and our consumers, I knew that this was something, if we created it, it would be successful. And by doing this, we are giving our physicians a voice on the type of education that they are consuming and how that education is being perceived and received. Think about it like a Yelp for medical education. Now, I'm going into healthcare, which is a very medical technology, which is a very male-dominated industry, and technology alone is male-dominated, let alone med tech. And so being able to be a female in this industry, in this technology, I have to be confident in my ability to dream, to execute, and to ultimately succeed, whether that be a pivot or a failure and then analyzation, but ultimately succeed in my career so that I can then help our physicians access the best education according to their peers. Each one of you have goals. Each one of you have career goals, you have educational goals, you have family goals. As a woman, as a young woman in pursuing their education and their career now, I encourage you to dream, to set goals, and to identify what you want to achieve in your career and in your life, and then follow a plan in order to do it. Research, define, analyze, plan, manage, build, analyze, work, repeat, and grow. This is how you can be smart about moving forward in whatever career you decide that you're going to pursue. There are not a lot of women in science, technology, engineering, and math. But I promise you that as you pursue a career in these industries, you will be able to set yourself apart, and you will be able to grow, and you will be able to influence not only the companies that you work for, but for generations of young women who need to have mentors and examples in the industry to succeed. I want to be that mentor and example for you. I want to help you dream intelligently and execute strategically. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can see here my email address is angela@angeladayton.com, and of course on LinkedIn. But my goal is to be a woman in technology that is an example to each one of you on how you can achieve your goals in whatever capacity, in whatever industry, and ultimately in whatever that future holds for you. I look forward to working with you, and please reach out to me so that I can ultimately help you succeed in your careers.